call the meeting to order.
Want me to be quiet?
In fact, Mr. West, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I sure would. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sounds a lot better in person than it did in Zoom.
And I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Thomas Sharp,
Here.
Troy Tisana,
Here.
John West,
Here.
Lee Tracy,
Here.
and Walt Dummett, absent.
So the minutes will show that we have 3 trustees and myself as a supervisor present and trustee Walt Dummett absent, so that I will declare that we have a quorum to conduct business. The minutes will also show that we have the assessor Tammy Cavanaugh and our road commissioner Chris Long present, and our attorney Van Larson. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the June 18th, or is that what it is? Yes, the June 8th meeting. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented for the June 8, 2021 meeting?
Motion.
Motion made by Troy Tusana
I'll second it.
and seconded by Tom Sharp. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented?
No, it's not here.
Walt's not here. Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll on the approval of the minutes.
Tisana,
Aye.
West,
Aye.
Sharp,
Aye.
Tracy.
Yes. So the minutes from the meeting of June 8th have been approved. I just mentioned that documents were... hello! We'll show that our township accountant, Bob Tallberg, is entering and will be in the meeting. So there's a variety of material that was distributed prior to the meeting, and including summary of the reconciliation of the bank accounts and the budget summaries, summary of income expense. I'll just note that particularly that we had property tax revenue during June to the general fund of $553,762.72, and property tax to the road fund of $244,823.93. Are there any questions regarding any of that material, the budgets, the bank statements, summaries, questions? If not, one of the key functions of the Township Board and the trustees is to approve the payment of bills. And so you have a summary, and in the folders there too, if you want to see the actual bills for the road fund and the general fund, they are there, and then there is a summary. So I'll just mention that we have bills for the general fund totaling $152,015.71. Probably worth mentioning particularly is that I'd like to pay a quarter of what we collect for the mental health and send it to the Inc. Board. So there's an amount of $102,063.25, which amounts to 25% of the mental health budget. That's a large portion of the general fund of the general fund bills. So I would entertain a motion to pay the general fund bills totaling $15.71.
So moved.
Moved by trustee West
I second.
and seconded by trustee Tusana. Is there any other questions or concerns about the general fund bills?
Okay, I'll ask a question now.
Okay.
I think previously you paid the mental health all at once. Is that right?
Yeah, we have, well, yes. However, and actually, we usually waited until later. But since we're receiving tax revenue, it occurred to me that we might pay portions of it now and portions of it later.
It's fine with me. I was just asking
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, why it was. I didn't know if we weren't getting all the money up front or.
Well,
just
no,
easier.
we don't, we probably don't have enough money currently to pay the entire 400 and some thousand dollars.
Okay, thank you.
Anything
Could you
else?
repeat the general fund bills? Is it 152?
$152,15.71.
And the amount going to the 708 board?
And the amount going into the 708 board is $102,063.25. Any other questions? Let's have the clerk to call the roll on the motion to pay the general fund bills.
West,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Tusana,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. And then can I have a motion to pay the road and bridge fund totaling $41,485.10.
What was it?
$41,485.10. And I'll correct the spelling, the bill to Malls Tree Service is for tree and stump removal.
True and stuff.
I'll make
True.
the motion to pay the June road
Okay.
bridge fund.
Motion paid by,
I'll second it.
and seconded, or made by West and seconded by Tusana. Any questions?
You answered my question.
The largest one, well, I don't know whether we want Chris to comment on it, is for asphalt material. The road department is doing quite a bit of paving stuff. So we've got costs to corrective asphalt materials for $14,904.
It's just for a, they call it a microsurface, a spray-on product. Put on it.
Blacktop. Is that like the old-fashioned blacktop?
It
thing
looks
you
more
do?
like WD-40.
It's that thin.
What's that called?
Called a microsurface.
And you just spray it over the
You have a truck
existing?
that sprays it over. It has to be on something that's within a couple years.
Okay.
So they did Deer Path Road.
Okay,
So what it does is it seals up that top quarter inch.
right.
Keeps the rain from getting into it.
Yeah, it keeps, well, the freeze-thaw cycles what we're trying to, so the top doesn't unravel as quickly.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's kind of pricey in a way, but
Right.
if
But
it
you have a
works-
lot of mileage to do, don't you?
Yeah, well, you only do it, after you've resurfaced it. So we did it on Nelson Lake Road the last time, the year
Mhm.
after we resurfaced it. And it just seems like the top is holding together
Mhm.
better. So if you can gain a year or two extra,
It's worth it.
it's worth it.
Yeah.
So you gotta try this stuff once in a while.
Mhm.
Use it on Deer Path because that's one of our shadiest roads.
Right.
The shade and asphalt don't go
Yeah.
hand in hand very well, so. Just try
I
to
was
hold
just
it.
on Deer Path today with my bicycle.
Well, you can see how kind of tan it looked.
Yeah, it's kind of flushed out.
Yeah, so we need to wait for it to get worked. They put limestone on top of it too. For that to get worked off enough so we can repaint that.
Any other questions about the road and bridge bills?
Lee, how much was that? 14,000.
$14,904
And the vendor?
is corrective asphalt materials,
Can.
canned. Any other questions? If not, why don't we have the call the roll on the payment of the road and bridge bills?
West,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Tusana,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the assessor's report. Tammy,
Hello.
hello.
Today, July 13th, our assessment notices were mailed out by the Kane County Supervisor of Assessments. Those notices only go to those assessments that our office changed. We did receive a Kane County factor of 1.0196%. So those parcels will not get a notice. Only the ones that we made an assessment change on here. Publication will be in the Chronicle on July 15th. Same goes if there was no change, it will not be published. And as always, we encourage people to call the assessor first or email. You can email me at tcavanaugh@bataviatownship.com or call 630-879-1323. We also, on our website, we added a newsletter. So if you click on assessor and hit subscribe to the newsletter, there's a general assessor email, and any important dates like the ones I just mentioned will automatically be sent to you by giving us your email and signing up for the newsletter. So that's a new thing we've added, and it's working. We got people the same day.
Good.
So, yeah, we're really glad we have that option.
Cool.
So, but that's it. Ready for those calls.
Thank you.
What was your number again? 879?
1323.
It's on the website.
Yes.
All righty, very good. Next item on the agenda, Road Commissioners Report.
We're happy to say that our blacktop project got done today, so we did several streets out in Heritage West subdivision, got Woodland and Oak Street in town here done. Contractor was smack on with his tonnage and use, so we're very happy with it. Other than that, brush pickup is typically every Monday. It's been a pretty good season for us this year. It hasn't been too heavy. Weather's been better, so.
I'm surprised. I've seen a lot of rain stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, we get a lot, but that's about it. We got one more road resurfacing project to do. That's at Slurry. We'll have a company come in and do some crack filling, and then we'll do a slurry over Tanglewood. So now we're looking at what roads we'll start to get ready to put out for bid for next year's service. It just doesn't never end.
It's just a cycle.
Yeah. And you try to, like, the whole goal is to leave the roads in better shape than
Right.
when I got it.
Do a lot of residents call you and complain, or if their roads are bad, or do you just go around and look at the worst ones and try to correct them?
Well, we're on them every day, so
Right.
We know which ones are in the cycle.
Right.
No, I don't have any residents calling and complaining.
That's good work.
I did.
I have a lot of residents calling and complaining that their street is bad, but they aren't our streets.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did have a
Remind me.
resident on Woodland Avenue who thanked us for paving his road even though he just moved there less than a year ago. He said it helps to know people in high places. I said I don't think that has anything to do with it. But it does. It is an
Well,
improvement.
that's so unlikely, because normally you'd take credit for that.
Yeah.
Well, I would, but I wouldn't.
One actually called me first.
Really? Cool. How is your road, Mr.
It's
Mr.
very
West?
well. Very, very nice right now.
That's good. Mr. West lives on that road too.
So we'll get the gravel, put the gravel on the edges out in Heritage next week. Hard enough. We got yours done today. Been a
Okay.
good summer so far.
Right.
Under old business, I just put there a report on the Batavia 708 board, which met on June 24th. I summarized stuff on the supervisor's report, which I sent around, but the Batavia 708 board now consists of the person we nominated, Ellen Notke, and members Nancy Murphy and Helen Sue Prohl said they were happy to continue, and so there's a full board, and including our trustee representative, Mr. West. I don't know, do you have anything to add?
The only thing I was going to add to it is they believe they're going to have their property they don't want to be in the rental business, so the properties that are going to be sold,
Right,
they
yeah,
think
this-
they have a buyer,
Yeah.
which is the hospital system over there.
Yeah, the Batavia 708 board or Inc. board owns the property in Aurora, right next part of the old Keeler School, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Part of what else?
the old Keeler School, which includes a non-functioning swimming pool and everything. But they're going to sell it to the hospital, I assume. Okay, is there? I have to find out who the secretary is. Did you remember who you appointed as secretary?
Yes.
Somebody, because that was the person we replaced.
I believe it was Sue Kroll.
Okay, well, I will find out for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm pretty sure it was her.
I will find out for sure. Alrighty, under new business, I put on here to review a employment policy for the supervisor's office. We had discussed employment policies and handbooks, and so I made an effort to make one for the supervisor's office, which supervisor has one employee, the case manager and office manager. And this is a revision, actually, of a ordinance passed by the Township Board on May 14th, 1990. And so it's probably a good time to revise that. So actually what I'm looking for is if anybody has any questions, concerns, additions, corrections. Bob Schallberg said, did you not include the 4th of July? And the 4th of July is now included as a paid holiday. I mentioned in this that the assessor's office and the supervisor's office follow the paid holiday schedule of Kane County. Historically, that's essentially what we have done. Did anybody have any other comments,
I
questions?
have a couple of
Good.
things that as I look at this. One of
Good.
them is, when you start out with this, and you're talking about job objectives and what this person is doing,
Mhm.
do you have a job description that accompanies this?
Yes, I included that as well, which you should have. In addition to this employment policy, you have the Batavia Township Supervisor's Office job description for the case manager and office manager.
And for your job performance measurements that you have, those are going to be based on agreed upon goals
Yep.
previous to the time period
Yeah,
you set them for?
yes. So in other words, the question is, if you have, for example, the description of the job responsibilities for the general assistance case manager, one can look down, well, okay, were all of these accomplished?
Okay. And you would have dates associated with that. That gets into more specifics. If they got it done in time, they got it done in time, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
how tight you make that. That's really a separate piece.
Yes,
as far
it's
as
kind of
the
an
review is
administrative
concerned.
question, isn't it?
So the other,
Yeah,
so I had another question too. Under hours of work, you say an employee's individual hours of work will be determined by mutual agreement of the employee and the township supervisor. I would offer, you really don't want to say that, because you could get in an argument, and you're saying by mutual agreement, and she could say, or he could say, I want 50 days off, and you say, well, I'm gonna give you 20. Well, that's not mutual agreement.
Well, the only days off are holidays, sick days, or vacation or sick leave.
And this is not going to have, is it a mutual thing also for working from home?
Well, that's a whole nother question I have. I had a statement here which says that working, I'm arguing here that working from home needs to be could be a full or partial day. In other words, one could work from home a full day by agreement with the township supervisor, or a partial day and then come in for another amount of time.
I would say that you don't want to say mutual agreement. I'm saying you should say, by consensus of the township supervisor, or
Okay,
something like that, rather than mutual agreement.
okay. Hello. Any other questions?
If you have, on the very last page for the acknowledgement form,
Mm-hmm.
you have that this policy statement, blah, blah, blah. It is a general guide to the policies, practices, benefits. And you have a policy book put together that
This is it,
this is the whole thing.
so far, unless you want to add to it,
Okay.
unless we want to add to it. I mean, there are all kinds of other things that.
I don't know how full you want to make it, you know.
Well, that's the question. I mean, we can, you can look at, other matters such as, sexual harassment and all that other stuff that probably, I could argue, maybe legally needs to be involved in, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, those kind of things, you can go into so much detail. And do you really need it? I mean, it depends on how many employees you have and all that, so.
I agree.
I mean, if you have lots of employees, yeah, you need to kind of get into detail on some of that stuff, but when you don't.
Any other? What I will try to do is to firm this up, add anything that, we think needs to be added. I have looked at Tammy's, handbook, and also the model handbook of TOI, which has a lot more material than is in here. So if anybody has any other comments, questions, at any point, bring these up.
The very end, you say meaning, the very last paragraph under your acknowledgement form, you say meaning that Batavia Township or I reserves, right? I guess that's okay. To terminate employee. Batavia Township in this situation would be you, right?
Yeah, me acting as on
Township
behalf of,
supervisor.
on behalf, okay.
I would change that title to
Okay.
Township supervisor.
We can do that. Yeah, it's simply underscoring the idea that we are an at-will employer. Okay. Any other points there? The other item for new business was to take a look at funding of social service agencies for the next fiscal year. So what I included was what we have done for 2021, and the amounts of money that we provided for various agencies. I'll say that the way that we review these are not grants. These are contracts for services. And so we spent $117,000 of what was budgeted of $120,000 during the last fiscal year. We have budgeted for 2021 $125,000. So I guess my question is, in looking at this list, what do you think that we should spread our money around, or should we focus it on particular agencies that we think are most important? I can already identify those agencies which I consider to be priority for Batavia Township: the Food Pantry, RSVP, United Way, Lazarus House, Chapel Street Church, Shelter Assistance, and St. Vincent de Paul. Those are the ones that I think are the most valuable to the township. So I would welcome any other thoughts, whether or not we want to give more money, and in essence the question is, do we want to give more money to fewer agencies or lesser amounts to more?
So we'd still give money to all of them on the list.
Well,
Just
I don't
distribute the funds.
We could
Differently.
distribute it differently,
Yeah.
or we could eliminate some.
I think I would kind of keep them all, but distribute the money. I mean, for the most important ones, maybe give them a little more,
Okay,
and the lesser ones give a little less. But I wouldn't want to cut anyone off altogether.
okay.
The ones that you mentioned are the ones that get the most money now anyway, isn't it? Pretty much.
Mostly, yes.
So we've already got more going to those
Right.
which he's deeming as being the most important.
The other thing that I will mention is that the Batavia Rotary Club did a community needs assessment, which I've always argued is important. In other words, how do we know what agencies in the community, which ones are we missing, which ones are we not funding significant enough? So what I have suggested is that we would partner with the Batavia Rotary Club in using their results of their community needs assessment and use that to guide how we fund as well.
I think we could, excuse me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think we could look at their results. Doesn't mean we have to copy it verbatim, but it'd be nice to
Yeah,
see results of somebody else, and, you know, we may find people have needs more than what we think on our list. Now, we have had these folks come in and explain what they do with the funds and everything. Is there any group that didn't show?
no,
I mean, everyone on our list,
yeah.
okay.
Everybody responded in some way. Some didn't, some provided only a written response.
What does the Rotary Club use as its criteria for determining?
A survey of all of various various groups in the community, and then asking them what their needs are, and then trying to evaluate where the primary, and then asking various groups what they think the most important needs of the community are. What usually comes up is the food pantry, among other things.
There you go. But what's good about it, a lot of them work together too. So
Yes.
that's a good thing. I mean, they kind of, if one family goes too much at one place, they kind of move them over. And I mean, I think they work well together. All these
Part of this
agencies.
is also based on those agencies that we refer people who come in for general assistance, and we are not able to support them at all or only partly. We send them to other agencies. Lazarus House, St. Vincent de Paul, Shelter Assistant, Chapel Street, particularly.
Well, can I just make one comment on the
Yeah.
list right now? The Batavia Interfaith Food Pantry is mostly handling Batavia residents, and I'm not picking on anybody else, but there's some down the list that aren't even in Batavia
That's true.
receiving more funding, and I think the food pantry should be getting more. That's just one case, in my opinion.
I kind of agree with that too. I mean, Where, I mean, are they, we don't know where all their funds are coming from, right? The Batavia Interfaith Food Pantry?
It comes from a variety of sources, you know.
They're all part of the Northern.
They're part of the Northern Illinois Food Bank, but they
Yeah.
also receive funds from the churches and individual contributions. And
So,
service clubs like the Batavia Rotary.
Right.
so the Salvation Army also gets a lot of their food from the Northern Illinois Food Pantry. And they do good work. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that they get
They're in St. Charles, right?
they get considerably more than the Batavia Interfaith Food Pantry does, and I'd be for bumping theirs up.
Okay?
I'm just, this is my opinion. This is Batavian. The
I'm-
Batavia residents are.
Well, I think you're right. You should
I do
serve
too.
Batavia Township people more than the St. Charles Township.
That's why we ask them for data on how many Batavia Township residents they have assisted.
We do have those numbers, right? They give those
Yep.
to us. I would think that would be something that we would use as a litmus test of how much money they get. How many people do they touch within our area, right?
Right?
He gave us an overview on it, and
Yeah.
I may have written down the information. I don't have it with me
I
tonight.
don't really
but
given that to us once.
the-
Yeah, it was provided and for every time one of these agencies reported to
Yes.
us.
I mean,
And,
the gentleman that spoke from them, all of them spoke, that
Yeah.
told us what the
Right.
numbers were, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, we'll work on this and then present something probably next month to guide us and to say, well, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Okay, next item on the agenda, unless anybody wants to provide more information on that item. How about trustee reports? Any?
Yeah, excuse me. I would just like to thank Chris, the road down, I happen to live on Woodland Avenue, and, you know, our road was kind of beat up, and I think it's mostly due to the heavy weight of the garbage trucks when they stop and pick up the trash. It seemed, I took a look at all the mailboxes, and every one of them, the blacktop had slid, and I know that's what it's from, in my opinion. But the road looks really nice. It'd be nice if it could stay that way for a long, long time. But,
10 years maybe.
yeah, and I was there when it was done previously, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And most of the neighbors were pretty happy about it as well. So,
Okay.
thank you, and I guess that's all I got.
Anybody else have anything else?
And
Not I, said the little red hand. No. I'd add one more thing on the supervisor's report. I provide a little information on one of our perennial issues here with regard to PACOM. We're still working to get them to process the assessor's bonus, which I don't know seems to be very difficult for them to understand. I also provided you a review of all the PACOM fees, January through July. And then a note that effective August 21st, they're raising their fees by 3.8%, which will increase, and I've provided the numbers of how it will affect each, the monthly payroll fees. Also involved here is a review of the fact, which makes me very angry, which we haven't been able to do anything about it, that we paid $278.20 to process the W-2s in January, and then, as you know, we had to process corrected W-2s, which cost us $2,485. I am in the process of taking a look at switching from PACOM to some other service, but I want to make sure that we're able to get the assessor's bonus thing processed
So I have a question about it.
Yeah,
You're the township.
yeah.
When you speak to them, you are the township.
I know I said.
And you tell them that this position gets X amount of dollars.
Yep.
Can they not process it because
Well,
it has to be tied to hours? Or
No, no.
I mean, they're working
The
for us.
problem is, that's a whole other thing that I'm working on with other supervisors in Kane County and ultimately TOI. The whole way in which the township assessor's bonus is done is unwieldy. What happens is that the state of Illinois Department of Revenue does the bonus. And then the controller's office issues a separate W-2. In fact, the fact of the matter is the state of Illinois is not the employer. But since they issue a separate W-2, that W-2 cannot, so we cannot issue a W-2 at the end of the year that shows taxable income of the bonus, because the state of Illinois' W-2 does that. This is hard to explain to a payroll service. The other thing that happens is that we have to pay out of that bonus the Medicare and Social Security contributions to the IRS. They have a difficulty understanding how you can pay Social Security and Medicare on no income. So we have to keep explaining this to them.
And they don't understand reductions.
And they don't understand reductions as well as contributions and deductions. So they don't quite understand the difference between a tax deferred contribution, deduction, whatever, reduction. I don't quite know why they don't understand it. But at any rate, it's a difficult process to.
When the dust settles now on this group, and even after this next raise, I get it, we should compare what our rates are right now versus what they were with our previous one, because it seems to me that they're quite a bit less.
They're quite a bit less,
So
yeah. I mean, if
it is tolerable,
if you exclude the unreasonable cost of issuing corrected W-2s, which just is a whole other issue, then we are paying less to take on than we were to pay checks.
if they can get this thing resolved, because Tammy's checks are going to come up again next year, and next year, and next year.
Yes.
I still haven't even gotten my return.
So
Well, no, that's not just because of that.
I don't know.
Nobody's getting them, so.
Well, I know people that have, but Riley got hers, and hers was
So I'll just offer a little bit of information. I used to deal with this kind of stuff in my previous job. And sometimes it's not that they can't do it, they have a standard program. And they can make it work for more money. And pretty soon, you're paying more to them than you were the other person, and that's how it goes.
Right.
Because we used to have to deal with that a lot, about issues and one-offs that we wanted customized to our package. I think that, I believe they can probably resolve it somehow. They're.
They can.
There has to be a way. We can't be the only people doing it. And if they need a little help, then you can give them the township attorney's office in Chicago, and they can tell them how to do it. I'm just saying.
It's true.
Play a little hardball.
I just want to make note of the fact that that we're working on it.
Corrected, W-2.
Anything else? If there's nothing else on the agenda. The next meeting is the second Tuesday in August 10th at 7 p.m.
The early ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about as, the earliest it could be would be the 8th.
8th.
So this month is about almost as late as it can be.
Right.
So, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work on these issues too. I know it's been a lot involved, especially with the payroll stuff, so.
Well, I
You
think,
can't ever get to talk to the same person each time. And
I
then-
believe it.
And then you get news, well, I don't work there anymore,
Yeah.
Well, that, and then the thing is true of our call one. Never, remind me never to change anything ever again. But our
Duly noted.
our representative at call one is no longer there. So we're trying to sort out currently the speed of the internet speed.
But that's not call one's problem.
No.
It's our problem
Yeah.
now.
Well,
How are you liking call one?
I don't particularly because like our phones, if you don't answer, like it'll ring Kelly's phone and if she doesn't get to it, she can't answer it and it goes to
that can be changed.
Riley's phone.
That can be changed if you want to change it.
We do. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind
Well,
of,
Riley, didn't she?
Hmm?
she
thought
would
you
probably
had to
have
change
to
it,
call.
right?
If somebody's not here, they're in close proximity, can't their phone just keep ringing and the other person pick
No,
up
it's
and
not the
hit the
way,
button?
it's not how it's
So it
set
just
up.
goes after so many rings, like
Yeah,
three
two rings,
Wow.
two.
Are the phones multiple button phones?
Yes.
Okay, because in my previous job, that's how they did it. If the phone kept ringing, they worked in close proximity, they
They
could
just
hear
could
it.
press a
They-
button.
They just pick it up, hit the button that's flashing and answer it.
It's not.
This one doesn't
Well,
work
that would be
way, but
nice.
It'd be nice if it did.
Yeah.
I agree with
It's
that.
like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like
it feels like
transferring
we went
calls
back
is a
in
real
time a
pain
little
too.
Yeah. Two
Okay,
rings, that's
well.
nothing.
But some of the stuff it does is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
the
agree with
voicemail
that
goes to
too.
email and it sends us
Yeah.
an email, so,
Oh, that's cool.
with a transcript and a, you know, and a recording.
Well-
So you can pick up those calls anytime, which is pretty
Well,
nice.
in my experience, asking nicely usually gets a pretty good job done. But maybe if they're just asked nicely, they can figure it out. I don't know.
Well,
Right.
Riley should take charge of what they, figure out what you guys want.
Call
And
one.
maybe
Sure.
take a little load off of, and frustration off of.
Oh, yeah, Riley
Riley,
handles a lot,
but
but
If
she's
she's
happy
talking to him,
to.
she's talking about what you want done on this side too.
Yep.
The road district stuff is working pretty good. I mean, most of our stuff goes to voicemail, so. And that's what we want.
But it's nice that we can transfer
Oh, boy.
calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't able to
I
do
said,
that.
oh, boy.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
there's
do you
good
expect one of the
things.
road crew to be
There's
sitting there
bad
picking up the
That's the
phone?
thing.
No,
Everything.
that's why I
Yeah.
got your number.
All righty. I think we, oh, let's have a,
I have another
My
question.
number goes to.
What's the other question?
Out of service.
I don't know if it's for you, but we had a deal where we wanted to change and edit some things on the web. And one of the comments that was made during that time was that the people that designed the web was supposed to give some training and allowance for us to edit our own stuff on a certain level. Did that ever get accomplished?
that is being done.
It is being done.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Are you saying that you want to edit your information?
No.
Oh,
We had, I think it was for when we were gonna start to pick up tree branches and stuff. And we couldn't change it, and they didn't change it. It was
Oh,
late,
okay.
people were asking questions of when it was,
That's
because it
been
was like
changed.
2020 was on there.
That's been
But I
changed.
still don't have access to it.
Yeah.
Riley knows how to make the changes. She was the one that Diane trained, for whatever reason. But Riley's been updating pretty much, I believe, everyone's website, everyone's portion.
Well, no. I mean, she couldn't do it for Chris.
Is there anything on the
Yeah.
website now that you find that you want to correct it? If so, let me know and we'll get it done.
yeah, they're good people. I think they would be more than willing to help us.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Bring it to them, then,
Yeah,
They would help you out.
yeah.
definitely.
But that's an ongoing, thing. I mean, the website can be modified, changed, from time to time.
The editing is an ongoing thing, the training for it is not, though. That was what I was addressing.
But once Riley knows everything, she'll be able to teach anyone who needs to know probably. You know, so.
And that's kind of
Yeah.
what was discussed at the time.
Right.
was It would be easier to train one person in the
Right.
office.
And have an expert in the office and train other people.
Right. We've had it in place for how long? This new company's been here for what, a year? Yeah, something like
Not
that.
a year yet,
Not
no.
quite a year?
No.
Okay. Well, I think that the website thing is an ongoing
Oh, yeah, it is.
process. And, you know, we can put stuff in place if we just know what needs to be done.
And the newsletter, Diane put that out there for us, so by our suggestions, what we wanted, she updated that portion for us. There's some things I don't think that we have access to change. Have to be done, so.
Okay.
There's something you need, Chris?
Well, I'm just waiting for some direction. Riley changed some of the things we had. You know, we're used to going in there and doing that ourselves, so it's kind of,
Is she done training, or is she still training?
No, no, it hasn't, we have not had the training of all of those people involved. And we will do that, so let me expedite that.
Okay, good, thank you.
That's in the works.
We might not be able to train anyone for the next month, so. Just saying.
Okay.
Did everybody get a chance to sign Ron's card that wanted to?
Yeah, there is a card for Ron
I
Gilkerson.
think, you got it, Penny?
It's right here.
Okay.
If you're, make sure that if you want to do that, and then
You want to see?
Tom is going to take it to Ron.
I love doing that.
And if you if you want further updates as to what's up with Ron Gilkerson, just ask
Life and
Tom
times of Ron
to
Gilkerson.
write it like time.
Yeah, us girls
Okay.
got.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion. Okay.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
It's
Second.
moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.
all good, thank you, see you next month.